You ever sworn before?
Times. When Martin's not listening. What happened to me beak?
Yeah.
Oh, I swore when that happened. I swore when that happened. I caught it on a branch. Proper let out an F-bomb then. So what kind of music do you do? Because I'm kind of getting into my music.
Ooh. Well, I play in a band called Beechwood.
That's so cool.
And
What's your band called?
Pardon?
What's your band called?
It's called Beechwood.
I thought you said Beakwood, and I was going to say it was fate.
Beechwood. Maybe that'll be the slogan, you know.
Nice. Love that.
Beechwood, Beechwood.
So where'd you get the name Beechwood?
Jack, who is the other member of the band, one of three, he lived in a street called Beechwood Drive. So It was going to be called Beechwood Drive. And then I had one day I was like, yeah, I'm a bit scared, but how do you feel about changing the name to just Beechwood? And he was like, I was thinking the same thing.
No way! Yeah. Same mentality.
So that's it, Beechwood. And it's also, what I realised is that there's a lot of beech trees in Essex.
Yeah, there is, you're right.
So I think that's where
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, no, and I love trees, so it makes so much sense. Cool trees. Yeah.
Oh, I love trees too. I sleep in them.
So, am I going back in your position? So
Yep.
Well done. You got it.
So we're in.
All right, we're in.
Here we go.
Well, we running.
We're ready. Yes.
Oh, this is
Here
a
we are.
handshake.
Here we are, Sam. Thank you for joining us on the Martin Talk Show.
So nice to meet you, mate.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
we're
having
here
me.
today with our good friend Jake.
Yes,
Jake
Jake.
B.
What up?
He doesn't do high five. He's got sensitive wings. He's
Yeah,
flown
I
a long
was
way
saying-
to
Yeah,
get
it seems to have
I was saying to him when we met earlier, like, my wings, they do work, but like people underestimate just how much you have to use your wings to fly to places.
Yeah, I hear that.
And like, they're sore. They're sore, man. I don't have to use them all the
That's
time.
all
I need
right.
to
We're
give
here.
them a
We're here
rest.
now. We'll take it easy with you, Jake. We're here
Thank
to have
you.
a conversation. No more.
Appreciate it.
No more flying for you today.
Yeah, I'm going to rest.
But anyway, we're here to talk about you, Sam, and I'm going to dive straight in with the hard question for
Oh my
you.
god.
So
Sip of coffee for this.
yeah, take a sip of
Good
your coffee.
idea.
So I've been following a bit of your social media, some of the stuff you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen you've released a book recently. So did you bring a copy of your book with you today?
I sure did.
Let's have a look.
This is so exciting. I feel like we're doing press release.
Board of the Biscuit. So I haven't read this. Haven't had a chance to look through this
Good.
book yet. I've just seen what you've been sharing on socials.
Oh, nice.
And so my question is, why do you want to challenge perspectives?
Whoa, that's straight into the deep questions. Why? Well, I feel like words are our power. And that's what I realized at the time of making this book, was just sort of how important the words that we choose make an effect and a difference on how people react to it and perceive it. And also I found that, say for example, my words could be perceived differently to how I'd interpret it, to how somebody else would interpret it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was kind of interesting. And likewise, obviously, with somebody else's words to me, would be interpreted differently to somebody else than it would be to me. So I thought it would just be interesting to challenge that, to sort of, I always like to make things that will kind of make you think about yourself, I suppose,
Yeah.
and sort of think about how, challenge how you see things, and maybe just question a few things. I think growing up, I've always questioned my stance on things, whether I'm like right or wrong about it. And I think for a long time I kept that in and not allowed myself to be questioned or to be right or wrong about something. So that's why it took me such a long time really to put this thing out, because by the time I did, I realized that it's all right to be right or wrong about something. More particularly wrong. Of course, everyone likes to be right. So so that's why I think I like to challenge the you know, the reader or whoever's just like taking in this art, because I think that's kind of what's most thought provoking for me, for what I like, is stuff that makes me kind of think about things and kind of like question everything I know.
Yeah. And what's really interesting with this is, can I start taking a look through?
Please, yeah.
Is that you promoted this book as a photography book. There's lots of photos in here.
Yeah.
But you've gone straight in with, this is about the words.
Yeah. I don't know. The idea just come about from the words initially. It was always going to be based around photos and visual, because obviously, for one, that's how I create, and you know, it is very relevant to everything that I do. But the original idea was going to be like one of one pictures on like a canvas, and then I was going to draw on it. At the time, though, I printed them out, and the pressure was just like way too much, because I was like just proper overthinking it, and they just come out not how I expected, and it was like too expensive to do another run of print. So I was like, but then it was such an accumulation of like such a like a mold of so many different ideas, and you know, it's funny, you know, kind of perspectives on this one idea and how it's kind of molded.
You've molded it. So it's like, I always see these creative projects as like a lump of clay.
Yeah.
You start with, and the clump of clay is like the idea. Do you kind of get this, Jay?
Yeah, I just really want to say, like, I think more people need to think the way that you do, mate. Like, you were saying about how it's I think it's just lost on people that even though words have definitions, they can mean something completely different to one person than another person. This is a bit of a weird tangent, but I promise it's relevant. I was listening to the Matilda soundtrack. You know Matilda the musical?
Yeah.
Right, so basically, Martin said to me about when we had our episode that I want to be more creative, and he was like, oh, you know, you've got to consume more art. So I've been trying musicals now. I'm working my way through different types of music. Thank you. And this Matilda musical, there's a song where I think the little girl's just a bit overwhelmed, and she says, did you ever wonder how when I say red, but when you say red, it might mean something completely different in your head than it does in my head? And like, I think it just blew my mind a little bit that we all experience the world in such different ways.
Yes. Exactly.
And I guess through a different lens, which is why photography is a really cool way of seeing the world through different people's eyes.
Yeah, it totally is. It's great that we have photography that allows us to see that, you know, like, I would hate to be a caveman or something and just not be able to.
We're in an amazing age for technology, aren't we?
Yeah,
like how things have changed in the last 100 years. How we're in a moment where we can store and record the words that are coming out of our mouths for others to listen to anywhere in the world. That's bonkers. Like, if you think about it, that's crazy. Isn't
Bonkers.
It? And it's like, you know, like, when we, you know, as far as we know, humans have never done this before.
No,
so this is brand new. We're really in a brand new age.
It's brand new to us, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like,
and sometimes maybe we don't appreciate that enough.
No, I think it, you know, like all things, like it at the time, it can be seen both positively and negatively again, because while that is fantastic, that sort of our words will live forever and like everything on the internet is forever, that's also what kind of scares people and stuff, isn't it?
It's terrifying.
Yeah, it is still terrifying. So like, it's all a matter of perspective, you know, like, which is obviously what the book is trying to sort of just sort of remind you of, really, when you kind of go through day-to-day life. It's all just normal to us, but then obviously 100 years, 200 years ago, like 3,000 years ago, like this would just be like absolutely mind-blowing. So I think it's important to appreciate that sort of thing. I mean, it's just great that I can see a photo from the 1970s and I don't have to just be told it. I can see how it looks. Yeah.
Well, imagine what that's going to be like 50 years from now.
Yeah.
Our grandchildren are going to be able to look back at this age and see exactly what it was like, hear exactly what it was like.
Yeah.
To my head a lot.
My grandchildren are going to watch this episode. That's scary. That's it's
could have showed this
scary.
one for generations to come.
But at the same time, like they can get a real feel for this moment
Yeah.
of what this was like, and we've never been able to
No.
have that before.
It's weird.
Time has just like passed and been lost, and
Yeah.
we've got some we've obviously books and paintings on the wall to get an idea of what went on.
Yeah.
But we're going down to like the individual level at this point.
At this
aren't
point,
we?
exactly.
I don't know though, because I completely get what you're saying, but I think that also like our ancestors thought that about when we were first able to take a photograph or write down a novella, like talking about our our travels and things. They were like, oh, people will really get to experience it by reading this book, because I reckon, right, in like I don't know 100 years time, that it's just going to be a simulation thing where what's that game? Assassin's Creed. Have you ever played Assassin's Creed?
Yeah.
Where like you go and experience history from a first person perspective. And I reckon they might even look at this
Hopefully.
the kind of format that we're on now that we're
this
so mind boggled by and be like, nah, it's just that's just normal.
Yeah.
That's a bit old school.
It's such a matter of perspective. It's so crazy. I think it's just important to appreciate every single one of those points, like reading, taking a photograph, and now video, audio. It's all just recording down. It's great that just as humans we just love to just like record down what we do and just kind of say like we're here, we're doing this today. I had another thought, I can't remember what that was.
Well, see, that's interesting. I've had like a discovery while I'm listening to you here, while I'm listening to both of you, and I'm going through like this thing of history in my mind, and it's the whole thing about perspectives. If we look back at that time where people wrote down history, history was decided what that looked like by the person that documented it.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas now we're doing our own documentation.
Yeah.
So in a way, there's no one else interpreting that from their perspective.
Yeah.
If someone
That's
in the
true.
future wants to look back at Sam Roper's time in history, it will be from your perspective, not from some other guy that was watching you and observed from the outside.
Yeah. That's powerful, isn't it? That we're finally in command of like our own sort of narrative, I suppose.
Yeah, like we're taking back control.
Yeah. And
then are we in a moment where we could lose that control, where we're going to hand that over to AI?
Oh, so
AI
true.
is an interesting one.
Also, like before we get into the whole AI debate, because that's a
whole
thing.
That's a big one.
I was just going to say, like, do you reckon there are some instances where people shouldn't have a camera on them or access to a microphone? Like sometimes I think, is it possible?
Agreeing with the question, I saw this from Tyler, the creator, was saying like very recently about podcasts, like everybody can set up a podcast, and obviously on one hand it's great, but on the other hand you could be an absolute idiot and like have a microphone and have a platform and like be talking to other idiots and just have a like one massive idiotic conversation that can just create like a spiral of loads of kind of very unhealthy things that we do not need as a society. But like, I mean, that's the freedom. Like, I mean, it's the balance, isn't it? And I guess it's kind of the pursuit of just like, I don't know, maybe it like, what's the word? It's a noble thing to want to like try and create something that's good and like positive for the world, but like not everybody shares that same perspective again, sort of thing. So
I think it begs the question, like, do we have a responsibility with what we put out? Like everyone should 100%. Have access to it, but do we have a responsibility for what we put out? I'm just thinking like some of the more influential people online that have then sparked a movement, maybe in a more controversial way or not a so healthy way, like, and then they come back and say, well, it wasn't my fault that people followed what I said. Like, do we have a responsibility, do you think? Or do you reckon it's just like people should take responsibility for what they consume?
I'm kind of thinking about quite a lot now and figuring out, because this is kind of this balancing act between, I mean, I think there is a responsibility for sure, but the responsibility that you have is like, if you need to kind of see it as irrelevant in order to do something like worthwhile, do great, or like kind of just like influential, I'll say, because if you bog yourself down by the responsibility, you know, you'll end up sort of either not doing anything or doing something that's just not like pushing
It
yourself.
can be overwhelming.
Yeah, it can definitely be overwhelming. Like I've been there, and you don't sort of do anything. And the thing is that when you start doing something, it always is scary. It's always scary, and it never stops being scary. But I think if you just keep pushing yourself like that and keep doing something, and there's this David Bowie video when he says if like just like venture out into the water just far enough where your toes don't touch the ground, that's when you know you're doing something great. And like,
Oh, I like that.
you know, I think that's really like the epitome of it. It's kind of like know that responsibility. It's kind of like take that responsibility, harness it, realize it all, and then throw it in the trash, and then go and do something that is scary and might make people turn and think, and that's ultimately when you start creating like your best work, I think, you know.
Yeah,
I think that's such an amazing way to view it.
and I have this quite often. I have this quite a lot where I worry about the responsibility of what I'm doing. Am I doing enough? Am I doing the wrong thing? Like over questioning everything. But you can get yourself in a place where you end up doing nothing through that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a paradox sort of thing. And I think like it's just important to live in that state of complete utter like controlled chaos. It's like kind of like accepting that you will never actually know whether you're doing enough or doing too much or saying the right thing or not the right thing, and just sort of living in it and keep going. Like honestly, just keep going. I mean, like I've stopped saying about moving up now and just say about moving forward, because it don't matter if you're going up or down, left or right, man. It's just
forward is the only way.
Just do something.
Walt Disney. That was what he
really
always said. Yeah, Walt Disney. He always said, "Keep moving forward," and you'll find that saying in a lot of Disney movies as well.
Really, yeah.
If you stop watching Disney movies, Meet the Robinsons is a big one where they specifically are quoting him.
Yeah,
but they do use that quote a lot. Keep moving forward.
It's all there when you start to I say to my mates all the time, you start to recite all these cliche sayings,
But
and
they
then
mean,
you realize
but
that's
they
why
mean something.
that's why they're cliche, isn't it? It's like it's because it all comes down to the same point of just like believe in yourself, keep going, keep making things. Like, yeah, man, the worst not the like worst mistake, but just the worst thing I ever did was just stop doing stuff for a bit. If it were for however long period of time, I just at one point when I hit my early 20s, I was just like paralyzed by just like all of these thoughts that we're talking about. And now that I'm here creating things, it's just like, man, don't ever stop yourself from doing that. It's what you love to do, you know.
Jake knows something about that moment of stopping. We spoke about that recently, didn't we? Like,
yeah, we did.
There's
with
actually Danny. about there's actually some power in that moment of stopping.
Oh, 100%.
That's where you can find some clarity to move forward. So
definitely.
You shouldn't be too hard on yourself.
No, definitely not.
Like that.
Yeah, that's it. I think, you know what, like it was on the tip of my tongue to say like I wish I could go back. I don't wish or regret anything, but if I was to go back, I would just say, hey, like just let yourself be that. Just do nothing for a bit, you know, not feel so bad about it. It's again, there's another thing that's written on my wall by my friend Acacia that just says, do everything with intention, or do nothing without intention, or something like that. It's like,
something like that. It all means the same.
That. One of the two, because everything has to be intentional. If you're going to take a break, and if you're going to not even a break, if you're just going to stop doing it, you know, be intentional about it. And you know, that's when you might end up creating some of your best work. You know, it's like when you're sitting on the sofa like this, and it's like, what are you doing? And you go like, I'm making art.
And I think we see this as art, don't we, Jake?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I think there's, like you said right at the very beginning, there's such power in words, isn't there? And such power in just communicating
100%.
and having conversations. And we've had quite a few revelations, haven't we?
We have, and even if that's on like a personal level, even if that's not like on a level for the audience, even if that's for us, like for me, the words that have been shared on the podcast so far have been so impactful and absolutely changed my life.
Definitely.
Having Jake along here now and being in this space where I haven't even introduced the fact that this is the first recording in the studio space.
Oh damn!
So this is the first time we're in the studio.
It's nice, isn't it?
Things have moved from the idea of having a podcast that I'm recording on my phone with my best mate, to then a couple of other friends, and then it expanded and me taking me all over the world, and now into my own studio.
It's exciting.
Beautiful, man.
All from words.
Wow.
Really
That's
all
crazy. The impact, man. Look, there you go. Look, I'm going to clip that.
Clip that moment. Board of the Biscuit. Let's dive in. Actually, before I move on, go inside the book.
Okay,
there was one thing that we touched on that I want to come back to, because we're talking a lot about words here. You touched on responsibility. Whose responsibility is it when we're speaking?
Well, also, like, is there a responsibility?
Yeah. Is there a responsibility at all? So I think it's so important to have freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Freedom to be able to talk, freedom to express ourselves, whether we're right or whether we're wrong. But it's also important to listen to both sides of that. Yeah.
Definitely.
I think the political debate in this country, actually all around the world, people just want to listen to what suits them. Yeah. And I think it's really important to listen to the other side of the argument.
100%. It's like paramount, in my opinion, because critical thinking is uncomfortable. You know, you don't want to hear the things that go against what you believe, like, and your natural first impulse is to fight back against it, and, you know, think of things that will, like, kind of, like, subtract from it, and it's I think that's the responsibility. Like, if there's going to be any responsibility, it's that, to be willing to accept that you may be wrong.
Well, yeah,
and
I
it's
think
hard to digest.
I agree.
That's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow. But that's, like, yeah, man. I mean, that's life, isn't it? Like, it comes down to the cliche things again. It's so hard to say it without sounding cliche. And when you get to cliche, people turn their ears off. It's just like, life is hard, and, like, actually, if you kind of just know that and accept that, and try and realize those things in the moment. And then you just find you just grow as a person, become more of a well-rounded individual in terms of your views, how you see the world. How you see the world is very important. I think, again, was what the book's trying to do, is just to challenge how you see the world, because it's very easy. You know, I love Harlow, but to live in this small town, it's very, very easy to just live in a box and a bubble and believe that you that everything that you see and hear about is, like, the truth, or it's what's going on in the world, and, you know, you just become very ignorant very quickly. I see it all too often, unfortunately. So
I think they call it village mentality, don't they?
Yeah, that's it. Just all of that, and it goes on anywhere, no matter where you're from. You know, it's not easy to expand your views on things. You know, everybody, like, works and comes home. They just want to, like, chill out or whatever. But I feel like it's quite an important responsibility as a human being to question yourself, and the world around you. I think that'll just benefit you overall
as an individual, and the people that are around you as well, and your community and your village. Can help the village as well.
No matter where you're from.
Have you got any ideas where to start with that critical thinking? How to, because, like you say, nobody really wants to do it because it's painful. Because it makes you look internally. It makes you question yourself. And so why would we want to do that? Why would we?
Exactly. That's the thing. Why would we? So where would you start?
We're not selling it, are we? I guess that's maybe where we start. The benefits of critical thinking. Any ideas, Jake? What have been the benefits to you for critical thinking, Jake?
Oh, so many. I mean, what I was going to say is maybe the place we start is going back to what you said at the beginning, which is perspective, and just being curious about other people's perspectives.
Absolutely.
It's kind of scary to think, like you said earlier, it's one of the hardest things to think, oh, maybe everything I believe is a lie, or maybe everything I believe isn't actually the right thing, quote unquote. But maybe we just get curious about other people's perspectives 100%. And what it's like for them.
There's no pain in that, is there?
No, just be curious.
It's discovery.
And quite a lot of fun.
Exactly.
It's quite fun to be curious.
I guess.
So maybe changing the perspective of this whole critical thinking and changing our minds. Maybe we don't look at it like that at all.
No.
It is just
That's so important.
Curiosity.
That's the first place to start, is how you see it. And don't, or see, again, it's so easy. This is one thing I was really wanted to stray away from in this book, is to seem like I'm telling somebody what to do.
Yeah.
You know, it was a big part of it. So when I say don't, straight away, I'm thinking that it's consider, like, you know, I do that all the time. It's kind of like, it's like getting sort of, I kind of like pedantic about it. You kind of go like, oh, well then if I'm questioning everything that I know, then everything I know is wrong. You know, and it's kind of hard to kind of take a neutral step for me to say it, I suppose, forward in just going, well, hold on a minute, like, let's not have any preconceptions of anything right now. Just take this first step, and it's just questioning, being curious, and discovery. I think we hit the nail on the head, really. It's just that, and they all are sort of uncomfortable moments, really. I mean, when I'm like creating anything, usually most of the time it's like late at night or something, and I'm always so tired. But when I'm in it, it's just the happiest feeling that I get. So I want to go to bed so bad and sleep, but like I'm creating something and I'm so entirely happy. I think that's kind of like, you know, a bit of a metaphor. It's
You're
just,
in your element. You're in your space.
Yeah,
I
you
completely.
push yourself out there.
I have that as well. Whereas through the daytime, I can procrastinate.
Yeah.
I can get a little bit lost.
Yeah.
And I can't figure things out. But as the evening draws on,
Yeah,
my creativity
Really,
starts to come out.
yeah,
And
that's
I can
exactly.
easily be up till 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
You're a night
because
owl.
because I'm having so much fun.
Literally,
Yeah.
literally, it's just like it's just the like the sort of curse as a creator sort of thing. You
There's
just
something
can't
in the
help it.
mind starts to
It's late night.
it starts to feel free.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
and
maybe,
that's what
and I
creation
think
is.
throughout the day, maybe I'm putting too much pressure on myself.
Yeah,
Maybe
definitely.
I'm like, right, I've got to pay the bills, I've got to bring some income in,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, I've got to do this for my kids, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that,
100%.
and I've got all these responsibilities. But then as the evening draws, I let all that go, and I just concentrate on the work.
It's just time for you.
Like, maybe that's what it is.
It's something weird about, I'm sure there's some funny quote, what I'm thinking is John Lennon song, like, whatever gets you through the night, but it's not like that. But it's something about the night. Everything kind of frees up. Nothing feels real. You kind of, the world kind of just
Time doesn't
changes.
exist.
Yeah, and I that's something like another like side of life that we could get into. But just briefly, like I've learned so much of that this year. Is that like in the morning I'll do like logistic tasks and stuff, and then like in the afternoon I do probably more errands, or even like kind of just like more mundane, smaller things, and in the evening I'll do the creative stuff, and it's just like about sectioning up and just like, yeah, sort of relieving yourself of that stress to be like, oh, like I have to do this thing like right now, sort of thing, and rather than
taking
just
the pressure away.
Yeah, let it come to you instead. Yeah,
Speaking of time restraints, it's actually time for me to head off.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to leave
Jake.
you both
Yeah, well,
for
it's
this lovely conversation. It was so nice to meet you,
It was
mate.
great to meet you too,
I
Jake.
appreciate you so much for joining today, Jake.
Oh, no, it's always a pleasure, mate.
It's
Always an absolute pleasure.
Always great to have you here. So yeah, go and where are you off to now?
Oh, well, I am flying over to make some arrangements for your next trip to the Fringe. Are we allowed to say that yet?
Excellent.
Are we allowed to say it?
Best assistant in the world.
Yes, I appreciate
Fly safe.
that. All right, we'll
Thank you very
see you
much.
soon.
Right, see you soon.
And
Bye.
before you go,
yeah.
where can I get a copy of the book
Oh,
to
you
send
can-
to Jake?
Yes, you can get a copy at samjroper.co.uk.
Amazing.
That's the only place.
Yeah, we'll send you a copy.
I'm so excited.
Okay, see you again soon, Jake.
Right,
See you
see you
soon.
later.
See
Bye.
ya. Bye-bye. There you go. So that was Jake. So you've met Jake. So
breath smelled a little bit though the entire
Sorry?
time. His breath smelled a little bit the entire time.
Well,
I
maybe
don't know about you.
we'll let him know that he needs to get some mints.
Yeah, man, to get some mints. I hope
Yeah.
he didn't hear. Well, just let him know.
I'll let him know. Is there a way that you can let someone know something like that without offending?
Oh my god.
Is there a way? Is it possible? Because I don't think Jake would want to go around knowing that, but it wouldn't want to be upsetting people.
I know, but it's like, but you'd help someone out,
You'd
isn't it?
help them out, but at the same time, it's going back to that internal pain.
Yeah.
'Cause you know that will unlock it.
Yeah, it's a hard one. Like, I think something I'm trying to get more better at is to accept the uncomfortableness in the moment for the sake of like a better future, you know.
Yes, yeah.
I think it's so hard, and of course you never want to offend somebody. Sometimes my perspective on this is a little bit kind of like, what's the word, like I'm like devoid of like any sort of like sympathy, I suppose, because I kind of want someone. I always kind of want to get that from somebody else to me, sort of thing. But but yeah, I think just be comfortable with uncomfortableness in the moment. It's always uncomfortable. It's always a bit scary, and that's kind of what I've got right now.
Yeah,
And
no,
I'm still
good.
figuring that one out.
Yeah, and
It's
I
like,
guess we are,
you know, when
aren't we?
someone's got something in their teeth.
This is all about. We're just trying to figure out and do our best.
Yeah,
Some of us.
Yeah,
Not
maybe
all of
like
us,
I think that's
but some of
maybe
us.
some of
It's
us.
where the
Yeah.
intention comes from.
Intention.
It's the intention. Is
Yes.
it coming from a good place?
Exactly.
Or is it not?
I think like a lot of the time. So like, I'm coming up on 6 months sober now, and one of the things that you notice about sobriety is how people react to it. Some people react like you know, I'm not drinking. And they go like, oh, sick, and then others they go like, you're not drinking, you know. And so what I'm getting at is it. Sometimes if you can do your best to point something out from a good place, then the rest of it is kind of out of your control. And like very, very much we want to kind of control. Like we don't want to have that pushback. If we can help it, we don't want to have somebody to like feel offended or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think again, it's another part of life is learning to just kind of let go of that and accept that you can't control how people are going to react to something. It's hard to do though. It's hard to do.
And especially in a moment
well.
where you're working on yourself, like sobriety, where you've put alcohol down and you've said no more of this.
Yeah.
Are we okay to dive in there a little
Sure.
bit and talk about that?
Yeah.
So why choose to stop drinking?
I think it was coming up like when I said I never really like I kind of said to myself that I wouldn't really drink or smoke. So when I started drinking, I was like, nah, oh well, whatever. Like my family drink anyway, so that doesn't matter. And I started smoking a bit as well, and I was just like, then I was kind of like, but I was young and like it was cool to do at the time. And then as like sort of time's gone on, it you know, I just found myself just holding me back. But what the main sort of the when it come to the end of it was that I was just finding doing all the same things that I can do, like drink, like I just didn't need it. I just like I was just doing all the things that I wanted to do without it, while still doing it. So I was just like,
it wasn't giving anything additional to your
life. It wasn't. And so, and thankfully, like it still doesn't. I go out, I of course, with sobriety, like people get worried that you don't go out anymore, you get boring. I still go to the pub, I still see my friends, and I love it. And I realized that that wasn't what it was for me. It wasn't the drinking, it was the social. And I realized that I can still hang. You know?
I guess there's a bit of I've experienced this. So I've never been a drinker. So I do have a drink every now and then, but I don't have to have a drink. I'm at a point in my life where I don't have to have a drink to go out and have a good time. But that took a long time to get there. Yeah. Because there was this anxiety of being in a social environment, thinking I did have to have the drink. Yeah. And so that moment of being like, oh, I don't need this anymore is very powerful.
100%.
And it does take a lot of work to get there.
Definitely does.
So how did you get there then? How did you get to that point from going no alcohol, anxiety, to having a good time?
I think a big part of it more, I think I kind of knew it was coming. But what I can't really say of how I got there, because I think you know what, it kind of comes back to the critical thinking a little bit, where I was just always kind of challenging myself, pushing myself out of it. I mean, I was kind of in the worst rut with it I'd ever been because of my mental health. not really because of sort of, it was more to do with myself rather than, and you know, my environment, things around me, but very much what I was going through. And I think because I keep asking myself these tough questions, I feel like in the end I just sort of pulled myself out of it with help. Obviously, you can never do it by yourself.
No.
But I think with just constant like willingness to want to get out of it, and asking myself these tough questions, and then it's hard because I can really speak of more about afterwards, which was replacing it with something healthy. Like, excuse me, when you just freshly turned sober, you know, you're just like twiddling your thumbs. It's like you get irritated and stuff.
You need that, a replacement.
You need to replace it, yeah. So I replaced it with running.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was because then I don't go for the run, and then there is this thing of like runner's high when you come out afterwards, and you just like you feel like.
You feel good.
You
feel a bit lighter, don't you?
Yeah. You don't feel like you want to like put anything unhealthy into your body, sort of thing, you know. And having something else to focus on was just really important. I think that's really the key of it is to, if you want to go sober, but you find it hard with all of these pressures around outside, like still going out and stuff like that, is that I say, you know, start now. Definitely, and replace it with something. That's the key part. Because otherwise you'll just get your brain will just end up doing it again. You know, you have to replace it with something, and then you won't feel like you want to do it anymore.
That's really interesting. You said just start now, because I open your book and the first page that's on there. I'm not going to read through the whole book because you know we want people to purchase.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
you know, we want others to experience. The book, don't we? But the first thing that says on there, page 1, you'll never be 100% ready for anything.
Yeah,
and I think that's so fitting to the experience of going sober, isn't it? You'll never be ready.
No.
And I've known people that have struggled with alcohol that are just like, not today. Exactly. I've got a party this weekend. I want to go out and go to this party. Yeah. And then and then I've got this thing happening. I've got that thing happening. There's never a right time. No. There's never a good moment, is there? Never. You'll never be 100% ready.
No, it goes on and on and on. It's like the seasons, it's Christmas, and then it's like it's kind of spring, the summer. It just goes on and on and on. There's never a good time. Never be 100% ready for anything. And it's like seeing it like this way. Say if you've got this party coming up, so I'll quit after that sort of thing. Like, again, it's such a matter of perspective. If you start now, that party is such a small drop in terms of the whole entire like time that you've had before. And I'm just trying to put it but you'll thank yourself. I mean, you look back and you think like, God, that was such a minuscule part of it. The party was just like so like small, and I'm so thankful that like didn't sort of get in the way of something. I mean, it's so true. It's like interviews. It's like your GCSEs. You know, you can never be 100% ready for anything. And that was the first one. That was the quote that really tipped the whole book off, really, because it made me realize that there's comfort in that, and there's also a terrifying like idea that you can never be fully prepared for something when you want to. You know, like I think I've always you know, again in my early 20s, I think I really wanted, I had a sense of, I don't want to put a label on it. I think it could be like an OCD thing, but I don't know. But I just really wanted to control everything. And not so much like people, like manipulating them, but I would like want to control my environments for myself. So that, when I realized that, I was like, whoa, like, I can't, you're telling me I can't
if you're
fully
looking for control, you want to be safe, don't you?
Yeah, it's a safety. Yeah, exactly. So again, having comfort in being uncomfortable, then all of a sudden the 100% ready does not matter. It doesn't matter anymore, and then you start becoming way more comfortable with the idea that you'll never be 100% ready for anything. So that's the same as sobriety. I mean, like, I've got a 6-month video coming up that I'm going to put out this week, and it says just that sobriety is, of course, it's about the quitting, but it's so much about the discovery of yourself. There's just so much to learn in the world. And these are all kind of, I mean, of course, they're bad habits. Like, I mean, it's crazy how like alcohol is even like legal, to be honest. Like, I know, but like, it's literal poison. It's crazy. What it does, it keeps you in that space. It keeps you kind of, it's a habit, and it's a familiarity sort of thing. I think it's just so great to just. It's so hard to do, but I really look up to bands when I think of in my mind, or artists that have this whole entire brand for themselves they built for the entire year, like say like Charlie XCX sort of thing, and then she's like, Brat Summer is over, and it's like fair play, like hats off, like. I love it when people or of anything, any sort, just completely axe everything they do and just start again. Like Fontaine's with their first album was like, we're gonna record it song by song, and if we make a mistake, we're gonna wipe the whole thing and start it all over again. That was their rule because they did it all on tape, and that's like hats off because there's this weird. You want to hold on to everything you've got and keep it very close. You've spent so long building up to it and stuff. And it's like the critical thinking. Like, God, imagine someone said, "Right now destroy it." You'd be like, "What?"
Yeah, and I've thought about that a lot. Thought because I don't think I've worked harder or more passionately on anything in my life than what I've done with the podcast.
Right,
I've done a lot of creative projects over my life, but nothing as quite intensely and as passionately as this. Yeah, and the thought has crossed my mind: what if one day there's an EMP, the internet goes, it dies.
Imagine.
And all of the work is just vanished.
Yeah, vanished.
Like, how would I move forward?
Exactly, yeah.
But then I'm like, I'm looking at it completely wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, no, the perspective on that is completely wrong. I'm looking at that as the audience, from the audience point of view.
Yeah.
Everyone looking at it and observing it and saying, "Oh, well done," and that appreciation and that everything coming externally. Whereas it's more about the internal journey. Yeah. It's more about actually the experience that I've lived through the past 2 years. Yeah. That was the value. Yeah. And that's already gone. And I can't save that anyway. It's there.
Yeah, it's there. And the EMP won't
the EMP won't touch that. So it doesn't matter if this will manage. This moment here with meeting you, like we literally just met. Yeah. But with this moment here with you, with Jake being here earlier, this is all special. Yeah. And nothing else matters outside of that. Yeah. Really.
Exactly. Like it's all like superficial. It's all like it's not real. And we can make it all feel so real, and it's so important to us, and it is great that these things are important, and it's all, and again it comes back to that balancing with responsibility, with knowing that you have this responsibility and then throw it all away because it's all just like completely like made up, and like you have these say like artists and bands. You know what I think of like Joji. I don't know if you know him. That was oh my God, I'm being so stupid now. I can't think of who it was before. But
it's not a test.
Yeah. Come on, everyone will know it's right there. But he was like the YouTuber before that. He was, and then he like turned artist. But like everyone still remembers the YouTube videos that he made. He doesn't like really do it much anymore. He kind of does from time to time. But like that idea of going like, I'm gonna stop doing this and start being an artist is like. Everyone would be like, whoa, what? Like, he was one of the biggest YouTubers at the time, and then he just goes and does something else. And that sort of legacy it's what makes their legacy. Is like that's there. It doesn't ever really go away. You still will always remember those times. Yeah, like you said, like us being here. Yeah. So don't be afraid to destroy everything you own.
So this is taking me to a strange place now. This is going really deep.
Yeah.
At the end of life, we don't take all of this stuff with us that we've built up. We don't take the art that we've created. We don't take the things that we've bought.
Exactly.
But maybe we take the feelings. Yeah. Maybe. Like there's more chance of that than taking the physical, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's like something like obviously with this research and that is that the last thing you do is go through all the memories in your mind, right? Or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's you at the end of the day. It's you when you.
So if you're going back on that, if that is the last thing you get to experience, is a replay. then why not make that replay so fucking epic?
Exactly.
Like, you know, like why not make that replay something that you would want to sit through?
Yeah.
Because let's like scientifically, you're right. They have proven that we replay.
Yeah.
They know the brain does that before it goes to wherever the consciousness goes next.
Yeah.
So we know it replays.
We know it's real. Yeah.
So why not make that replay
exactly
the best replay?
It's like a weird thing about doing. I'm yet to watch this video. It's like a 40-minute video essay thing where someone's talking about confidence being uncomfortable. It's so true, because one of the things that I used to beat myself up about so much is how I used to have so much confidence when I was a teenager, and now I don't. And for one reason, it's because I'm a teenager. Nothing matters when you're 17. So that's one thing I needed to give myself a break on. But also is that confidence is always uncomfortable, really. You know, to tell someone that their breath smells is uncomfortable in the moment. And it always is. And creating art is always uncomfortable when you put it out. I mean, I sat on this thing for so long, never knew when the right time was to put it out. And I'm telling all my friends that are sitting on music right now that I said, like, look, when I was putting out the book, everything that I was promoting about it just didn't feel like right. And it's because I sat on it for so long. But it's out now, and I can keep promoting it. It's such an important thing. Like, I'm so glad to be here right now to talk to you, talk about the book, and just talk about all of this. I'm so pleased
that you're sharing.
Yeah, because this is like, imagine if I sat on this, we wouldn't be talking about it right now. You know, it's just great to put things out and keep exploring, and just keep discovering and doing it. It's very, very hard to do the things that you know you want to do, but you're kind of scared of doing them. But it will always feel uncomfortable, and that's the beauty of it, man. That's the beauty of it. So go ahead and do it. Like, my family we all love each other. We don't really tell ourselves that we love each other. So in this Fontaine song, it says, "Tell your mother that you love her," and she was outside. So I was like, "Mum, love you." She was like, and I was sitting there thinking of it for like 5 minutes. I was like sitting there like working out, like I don't know, like when to say it. I'll wait till she walks past.
It's so important to do that.
Imagine,
it's
and I
so
said
important to share that love.
Exactly.
It's far too common, and it's so easy to share the negativity, and it's happening all around the world.
That's what we're seeing, exactly, man.
You know, everywhere the negativity is so loud.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons I'm doing this, is to amplify the positivity.
Yeah, amen.
It's to share the love.
Exactly.
like it sounds hippie, but
no, we feel it.
The thing is that the noise of that negativity is loud.
So loud.
So we need to fight. We need to
100%.
We need to say to our mum, "I love you, mum."
Amen.
You know, and our friends, we love them. Like, because it means so much in this negative world.
It is. It's so easy to you know what, like, it's so easy to read this and think of the negative first. You know, it's easy to go with the negative. That's the easy part. And that's what, again, it's for. Because then you read the blurb at the back, and then you go, all right, okay. And then you read the other words again with a different perspective. Hopefully, if it's negative, then positive. And then you're going to go, oh, I didn't think of it that way, you know. That's what it's for, is to kind of make you realize that negativity is just so easy to just be about. You know, we all do it. I had a day yesterday where I'm just like, you know, I'm just like tripping over my laces and stuff. And I'm like, and then I tell myself, like, no, don't say that. Don't be like that to you. And
you have to be kind to yourself.
Gotta be kind. That's what I was going to say. Exactly. Have that inner voice. Be kind to yourself. It's very hard to do. It's hard to do. We all do it. You know, it's completely fine. But yeah, be kind to yourself. Let that voice be kind. And like, imagine if that voice telling you the negative things in your head was somebody else telling you that. Like, what would you do? They wouldn't be your friend. Like, you know, if at least. So do that to yourself. Yeah. That's like, again,
before we wrap this conversation up, I've got a big question to ask. Why Board of the Biscuit?
So that was uttered by my mate Alex. He's there. He features in it quite a few times. It was quite an important catalyst for this book. To be fair, he was one of the things that was one of the first pieces that I made. So he uttered the words "Board of the Biscuit." He's talking about his cat. It was completely unrelated. and it just seems so right. I just love titles of things that look good.
It brings you in. It makes you question.
Yeah,
It makes you bored of the biscuit.
Exactly.
What's this about?
I always love things that are just like completely no relation. Like I had a clothing brand called Syrup. Like they're just like what, and then like I love a thing when it's just not something that it is like at all, and you just kind of go
I feel like you're giving birth to curiosity there.
Yeah,
like with these things, like Board of the Biscuit,
it's the curiosity.
Syrup, you're kind of giving people that opportunity to be curious.
Yeah,
and then even with your bookmark and your logo, there's a curiosity that I've got to this as soon as I see this. What is this circle all about?
It's a similar thing in terms of, well, man, I mean, there's so many like weird sort of connotations that I have to it in my mind, but I think it was an accident that I got that it was my logo. I made it for an illustration for like an art piece around the same time of conceiving the idea of this book as well, where it's a picture of my friend Luke, and he's up there, and then so I cut out the background of him and put the squirrel behind him, and it's actually upside down, so it's actually drawn that way, I believe, in my book. Put it just behind him, and that was just purely for the illustration. I don't know how. I think I made it my profile picture on Instagram, because at the time I've always like changed profile. I've always been an internet nerd and a social media nerd, really. And I've always used to change my profile picture like once every day or once every week, and I done this one, and it just obviously was just like it kind of like fits. I feel like it fits, feels
your
right.
Your vibe is
there. So I illustrated it, cut it out, made it a thing. But to get deep with it,
let's go on.
It's like life.
Okay.
Because life goes in circles. There's some sort of not saying, but there's an idea that life is a spiral and it's constantly going around. So if you have an opportunity, one thing that my grandparents used to say is that everyone gets an opportunity in life. And I'd actually argue that everyone gets an opportunity more than once in life. They get opportunities. It comes around. It goes round in spirals. I think you find that in life. A lot of things, it comes full circle. It comes back around. There's a lot of cycles, a lot of repeats, a lot of things happening again. And I always would love to create something that just encapsulates life,
and the circle does that. My business card, my logo also has a circle on there. The business, I didn't want a square business card.
Right.
I wanted a circle.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
It feels more rounded.
Because there's power in this circle.
Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? It's like no sides. Yeah. You got squares, you got 4 corners, triangles 3, and then all of a sudden the circle's like no corners. It's just really interesting that just there's so many like patterns in life and stuff. But anyway, with the logo, it was a complete accident. I could never create it. I tried to actually do a Squirrel V2 kind of like last year, sort of update it, because I picture this thing in my head when sometimes, but it just feels so right. I just like it. I just like to have a thing that just encapsulates something way bigger than me. That's kind of what it is. So that's why at the back of the book, I've got the logo there, but nowhere in the book it says my name. So I hope that if someone finds it on the floor, they'll just pick it up and like, there's no attachment to me. But then if you, I like the journey, the conquest, the curiosity. I suppose you're wording it all for me, actually, that I'm not like really.
No. I think we're discovering this together. I think. And that's really interesting that you haven't put your name to this. That you have what does that symbolize to you then? Because I think you kind of touched on it there, that the work is bigger than you in a way.
Yeah, I think so. Like it's devoid of any connotation to me. I didn't want it to. I love that I'm sitting here talking about this, and I'll always talk about this as my book. But I love that it's like there's no because I read this book. And I will take stuff away from it as well. I just didn't want it to be like Sam made that I made this book. I just want it to be like this book is made.
This book exists.
Yeah, this book exists. Yeah. That's what I love about it. Like so, That's why I did it. It was a conscious choice, and I love that in the middle bit that is it's just I just love that it's creating this huge, like it, you know, it. I love it. It feels like it's not me, but it is me. So that's what's cool. Like it feels like it's this thing that's above me. I think that's kind of important, perhaps with certain things, whatever you're creating, is to see it as this thing that's like it's a larger thing than yourself. You creating it. I think it kind of.
It's funny that you kind of go into there, because I've got this thing with ideas.
Yeah.
And I always see ideas as kind of like
here, yeah.
And the ideas are kind of like floating there for you to grab.
Exactly.
And it's up to, because I get loads of ideas, and they're all, it's like this train of ideas.
Exactly.
And it's up to me if I grab one of them and do something with it.
Amen.
And if I don't, that train's going to keep going and find the next person that can grab it.
Like I see it like
there,
clouds.
It's in a cloud.
Exactly.
And like, do you see that at all?
It's so crazy you say that. Exactly. And
so maybe, and I've said this to some people, and they're like, "What are you going on about?" And maybe they're not people that are tuned into that frequency.
Yeah.
But I do believe that there are some people that are tuned in.
Yeah, I think so. I honestly cannot speak for anybody else, for myself, because like this is just how my brain works, and I know that other people's works like that, and I can't really fathom other people's not working like that, to be honest. But I think other people's brains work for different things. I used to think that about thoughts as well. It used to stress me out that I would have a thought of something and then I wouldn't say it. And again, with the confidence thing or whatever, by it being uncomfortable. I like to express uncomfortable ideas. And it's just something that I'm still just learning to just sort of let out. Yeah, and then my therapist said it about thoughts being like clouds, and they just pass by. And if you just let it pass by, it will go away. And so you don't have to.
You don't have to hold on to it.
Yeah, you don't have to pick out. And then that's when it starts making you. Then you start kind of.
And I guess that's the same with ideas. You don't have to take the idea. You don't have. It might not be right for you.
Exactly.
In that moment.
You let it come to you. Then all of a sudden, you're letting it come to you. Then all of a sudden you get this law of attraction thing. Things start happening to you rather than you making it happen for something. Things start happening to you, not for you. That's crazy.
But rather than the false.
Right.
And that's hard for a creative person, is not to force stuff. Because a lot of creative persons think a lot about the outcome.
100%.
And when you're doing that, you are forcing something.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're doing it, if you're a musician and you're doing it to be world famous and to make millions of pounds,
that's it.
You're not going to achieve it, because
exactly.
that focus, that idea,
it's like you naturally
isn't the music.
Don't do it. Yeah.
That isn't the music. What you need to do is the music, and then everything else works around.
Actually, I bang on about that to my band that I've just started this year as well. To the guys, I tell them, which is Beechwood, by the way, is that I just like
play bass.
I play bass, yeah. I play bass, but in this band I play bass guitar and vocals, like sort of the front sort of vocalist with Yak and Joe Hayes on drums. And what's it? They're music guys, and they went to music uni and stuff like that. So very much sort of similar vein, where they're like, I want it to be my full-time job. And if my band could be my full-time thing, then that would be amazing. And it's like, hell yeah, of course. But like, for as long as you think like that, it probably won't happen, because you'll just be so obsessed. And when you're obsessed with the wrong things like that, it just doesn't come off well. But they know that. One thing I always just keep saying is just, we've just got to make it for fun, and we've got to make it for ourselves, and just keep putting things out that we want, that just feels good to us, and it'll just start coming. It'll just start the law of attraction. Like the right things will start happening to us. So relieve of that control, and sort of just challenge the whole idea that you can control things, and let the creation. I do it with writing things. You write things that I don't really think that I was gonna write, or think that's kind of like any good. it's perspective. If you don't write something that you don't think's any good, you show it to someone else, and they're like, "Dude, I love it," you know. Like, and we always get that in the band. He's like, "I'm gonna get rid of this intro." I'm like, "That's the part. I love that bit." So, yeah, man, yeah, let go of all of that. Let go of all that, and then yeah, just simply just let go of everything you can control in life, and everything will work out just fine.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful, Sam. But this has really been a really
it's been great.
A powerful conversation. I think the power of words is where we started this.
Yeah.
And I've heard it today from both you, from Jake earlier on.
Crazy, yeah.
So it's been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
do appreciate it. One last question for you as we wrap this up.
Okay.
What are we've talked about the danger of looking for an outcome, a perspective, but do you have a hope and dream for this book?
Oh, hope or dream.
Because I think they're important as well.
Yeah, this is true. This is very, very true. I think it's something, again, that I think about a lot at the moment, because it's important to have a plan and an idea of things. And I think I kind of have a very, very lack of that right now, which I'm kind of all right with, I think, because I don't have... The path is completely unclear. I have kind of no path in terms of like where I want it to go and how I want things to appear, perhaps, or because, and I think sometimes that does bother me, because I used to, and of course I have ideas for where I want to be. Myself and with arts and things, but I think I'm kind of all right with just not having a definitive idea for this very project. I think I'm working on a short film right now that I think I've got like more specific ideas of where I want it to be seen and stuff like that. But for this book and for creation right now in 2025, I'm very much just floating through the ether. Yeah.
Moment. That's nice.
Yeah, being present. Nice. Yeah, I think that's an important part, I think, of it. And I think I'm figuring that out. Like last year for me, kind of going freelance as a photographer and videographer, the goal was to just like survive. And I've done that, so that's good. And now this year it's kind of like I set some goals and stuff in mind, and I've done some of them. I'm still yet to do others. But I think it's like what we're saying about this mold. In the end, I think I'm just letting it mold to me. I'm letting myself figure it out, because I'm kind of, it's this weird bit where I know I'm kind of going on. We want to wrap it up, but when I'm kind of doing everything that I've always wanted to be doing. Mm-hmm. So when I was back doing the things that I didn't want to be doing, essentially, kind of, I very much had a clear goal of where I wanted to be. So now I'm where I want to be.
Yeah.
So maybe some people will be like, right, now the next thing I want to be is here.
But you're appreciating this moment.
Yeah, I'm very much in that.
Mm-hmm. And how does that feel to appreciate this moment?
Great. I mean, it's like euphoric. I mean, I think it's kind of strange. I think it's very strange, I think, in a lot of ways, that I don't think about it in such a positive way. Mm-hmm. Like I just very much do day to day. Everything is day by day, and that's nice. That's nice. You know, I think I spent too long worrying about the future and stuff right now. Mm-hmm. So I'm very much happy to just be living presently, letting things happen day by day, letting things happen to me. I think more so my perspective on it is, whenever I want to see something of where I want to be now, then that's when I know that there's time for change. You know, when I'm kind of in it doing what I want to be doing, I'm not seeing that. So I think that means I'm where I need to be.
Brilliant. Wonderful. I'm going to throw a bit of advice back to you. I don't normally give advice. Yeah. But you said something earlier, and I think it's quite fitting. Yeah. I like that phrase, just keep moving forward. Yeah. In all of this, just keep moving forward. Exactly, yeah. So wonderful. Thanks again, Sam.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Martin.
And if anyone has been watching or listening, thank you for joining us in this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Sam.
Martin.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wonderful.